boys are back to enjoy a tasty cocktail and tasty conversation. Be sure to reach out to the boys on Twitter at the Recipe Boys, boys being spelled B-O-Y-Z, and check this episode's description for more information. Now pour yourself a drink, and cheers to you for listening.
Holy shit, we're rolling.
We are rolling, baby.
What the fuck was that?
What is up, y'all? What is up, y'all? Welcome back to the Recipe Boys. That's us. We are a podcast about cocktails and entertainment.
And conversation.
Conversation.
Yeah. And this time, guests.
Guests. We're pretty good at getting guests on here.
Yeah. There's people starting to want to hang out with us.
He's coming from a long way.
Yes.
Harlem. That's, I'm the token English guy for this episode.
Yeah.
You know,
Welcome.
You'll be really easy
Very
for our
much.
listeners to pick apart.
what you mean, like Game of Thrones type sort of situation, or what?
No, like in case you're like, oh, which one's which?
Oh, right. I meant pick apart as in my character.
Yeah, I kind of thought
was
you meant like they're going to destroy him for some reason.
Nah, I listen to a podcast with two Australians, and sometimes I don't know who I'm listening
okay.
to.
Right, yeah, cool.
They all sound the same.
They don't, but I'm stupid.
Yeah,
All
so Johnny, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, cool. I'm Jonny. I'm a software engineer, and I think my main reason I'm here is I'm responsible for putting 2/3 this group together. I gave them the first jobs.
That's true.
My biggest regret.
Yeah, right.
Blowjobs, right?
Yep, that's what it is. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, my first job in New York City, I interviewed with Jonny over Skype one time. And was it Skype? Yeah.
Yeah,
Something
it was
like
Skype.
that.
Yeah,
And he was like, you'll work on some cool stuff and then do a lot of bullshit. Does that sound fine? I was like, yeah. I was really just needed a paycheck. So it's like, I'll do whatever.
Now, which one of them did you have your like feet up on the table during the interview?
That might have been Lex.
Yeah. So when I met Johnny, I knew I was coming into this like big consultancy in Wall Street. So I wore a full suit.
Uh-huh.
Right? Everyone I knew who worked there had like a full suit. And this guy comes in, he's wearing like a plumber, red trousers as he'd call them, regular t-shirt, and he was eating blueberries right in front of me and talking with his mouth full.
I knew you'd bring up the blueberries.
I'll never forget. He's like, oh, we're going to go up here. And they're like, oh, no.
See, I had none of that. I didn't know anything about the job or anything. I just knew that this was something
To this day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
true.
right.
Like I just knew this was like something that I needed to get here, and that's was like I was like they called me and like for like your offer and everything. I didn't negotiate nothing. I was just like, yeah, okay, sounds great. You know? Like,
Yeah, I negotiated for weeks. I negotiated for like 8 weeks and like what I wanted or what I thought was fair. And I heard through the grapevine, you could tell us if this is true. Mm-hmm. I was told that you guys were asked not to pick the best two applicants, but kind of in like a Miracle Herb Brooks kind of way, you were trying to pick two people that would go well together. Was that true?
I don't think so. I mean, I had the final say on your job. I remember being in a taxi and sending the email yes, because you stayed late and then drew my boss's Green Lantern on a whiteboard.
That was the whole reason?
Yeah, because I was like, he did do a lot of work with that green pen. Yeah, really, he was really into it.
That was a good story.
That's great.
Yeah.
A timeless classic, if you will.
Oh.
Which brings us to the theme of tonight and then also our first drink.
correct.
Yeah. Gin and tonic.
Gin and tonic.
Johnny's idea. So we're real happy about that.
Well, I think it's just one of those drinks where it's safe, right? It's good, it's safe. I equate it to when you're in a place and you order coffee, and if you order a latte and they don't serve it, you seem like a dick that's like up their own ass. But everyone's always got G&T, you know?
Yep.
I have had the misfortune of someone not having tonic, and instead of thinking that I was the weird one, I thought they were the weird one.
They are the weird one.
They are definitely the weird one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who doesn't have
If you
tonic?
serve alcohol, and it's, I think, a foregone assumption. that you serve
Every
tonic.
bar I've ever worked at had tonic in the gun.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Except-
because you go through so much of it. you
Except
know?
one bar, we ran out of tonic for a night, and they switched it with lemonade. No one complained.
Lemonade, like
Like Minute Maid lemonade.
I would obviously know the difference.
I know, but I guess we didn't sell that much tonic that night, and people like it's so heavily mixed with other things that no one noticed.
Was it carbonated?
The lemonade?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
It was like similar to the UK lemonade.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no, yeah, the UK, you might get away with that for a gin and
UK
tonic.
lemonade though is like Sprite or 7-Up.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if we're making gin and tonics. We're probably making other drinks with tonic in it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So without further ado, guys, let's take a sip.
Cheers, guys.
To the queen.
Lex.
That's good.
Yeah. For this one, I wanted to go pretty simple. This is Beefeater's using Fever Tree original tonic and lime.
What's the count on those?
2 measures of, I guess, 2 ounces of gin, and then most of a bottle of tonic. And I don't know how much tonic that is.
Well, it's in a Collins glass.
So it's fill. It's fill with ice and tonic.
Fill with tonic.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's very fair.
This is like
How much
like a
lime
double.
is this? You just squeeze the lime shell?
Squeeze the lime right in.
Oh, beautiful. It's
So I
Mason
want
special.
Yeah, this is supposed to be the first version, which is like the very classic,
$4
run-of-the-mill
well
one.
drink special.
Next version gonna be a little more exciting. Got some more options here, and this is gonna be the first one where it's sort of like buffet style, guys.
Okay.
So make your own
see,
gin and tonic. We talk about it. Maybe
That's what
try
I
each
go
other's.
through most at home is gin.
Yeah.
Easy, because it's just like I have a bunch of bottles of tonic, never going to run out. And I have Plymouth.
You will run out.
I know, but I mean, like I got a bunch of it, you know. I got Plymouth gin, Beefeater's gin, New York Distillery gin, and I'm sure I'll pick up another bottle of something else.
Johnny brought a great bottle over.
What is
for
it?
tonight? Yeah, well, we'll try it later, but it's gunpowder, right?
Gunpowder.
Ooh, I love gunpowder
yeah,
gin.
yeah, gunpowder gin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So gunpowder, Brooklyn are normally my 2. Like if I want to spend money, the latest gin I've been into, I just got Ryan Reynolds
Aviator.
Aviation gin. Yeah,
Is that any
there's
good?
Aviator. Yeah,
It might be.
I don't care.
I think
His-
Aviator is the cocktail.
That's his.
no, the
gin?
Aviation's the cocktail.
okay.
It's
So maybe
Aviator
Aviator gin.
Yeah.
Wait, so he makes a gin?
Yeah, he does.
Well, he's like brand ambassador.
Oh,
and
the spokesperson.
co-owner. He
Okay.
owns it. He put his money where his mouth is.
Yeah.
Is it good?
It's quite good. I mean, I find that Brooklyn and gunpowder are very spiced and very botanical, where they have a lot of big flavors that makes it hard to mix. Because I'm like a Gordon's Beefeater person. You know, I like to stay traditional. Aviation's very traditional and has a lot of citrus and like bite to it. You almost wouldn't even need the tonic. You could do like a gin and seltzer, and it would taste like a gin and tonic.
Don't think I trust it.
Oh, I guess I'll have to bring you over.
Yeah, exactly. Try to trick him one day.
That's fine.
Yeah. So you guys want to hear the history of the gin and tonic? It's one of my favorite cocktail stories.
All right. Yeah.
So British soldiers in India were required to take quinine. Quinine is an anti-malaria drug, and it's very bitter. So what they did, because they were British, is they mixed it with soda water, added a lot of sugar, and that made Indian tonic. So it's tonic water. In fact, tonic water to this day still contains quinine. That's what gives it that kind of distinct bitter flavor. And because they were British, they put gin in it, because obviously they're British. And then also they added lime because it warded off scurvy. So the gin and tonic, like one of the most perfect kind of mixed drinks in the world, came from lots of British imperialism.
Only the best kind.
Are all the Brits just drunk? I've never been there, so it's like everyone in Britain just drunk all the time.
See, that's like the Irish stereotype as well, right? It's just like everyone's drunk.
Like Americans are always drunk, but on
it's
beer.
not that. It's just that I think drinking there seems more friendly. So like, because like when we were in Ireland for work, like drinking in the street felt really weird, but really awesome.
Yeah, you can drink in the street. That's another thing. There's more of a social component to drinking that I noticed when I'm in London. You know, people are like, oh, we're going to go have a drink after work. Like, it's
'Cause
something you do.
In New York, you like go into the bar and you drink, but like in London, we were like outside the bar where there's like little umbrella stands, and you go inside, get a drink, walk outside, hang out with your friends. It was nice.
Kind of like Stone Street.
Yes.
Yeah. But
yeah.
the entire place.
So on BuzzFeed, they talked about the weirdest things about another country that you know, if you haven't been there or if you're not from there. And the thing they said about Europe was that seeing little kids go and pick up liquor for the family at the liquor stores.
Yeah, because it's just more integrated into the culture, right? Where here, like, I feel like college students are like, I don't know, rabid dogs waiting to get that beer, that Bud Light, and like, oh God, and then they go mental and do a kegger and then die or whatever.
Yeah.
Whereas you grow up and you start having wine when you're like 13, 15, like your mum and dad will give you a little bit. And then you do like gradually build up and have a context around what alcohol is, like, where it sits in the culture, blah, blah, blah. But here, you just like, it's like, I'm gonna get wasted. Yeah.
So you've been trained.
Is it a
Yeah.
kegger until somebody gets AP? I mean, like, you know.
What's AP?
Alcohol poisoning?
Yeah, another buzzword.
But what's up?
Wait a minute. AP, is that a real? Do people
kegger.
actually say
AP, I think of advanced placement.
How often do
In
you,
the South, it happens so often that they have no time. They're just like, come on, guys, he's got AP.
Get the AP kit.
Get the charcoal, pump his stomach.
Right, yeah.
What's it called?
we gotta say what's it called?
I love it. I love it because it grabs everyone's attention. We all stop, and then you have nothing.
No, I had something, but I forgot because of the AP comment. I thought of DP, and then I went down that hole. No.
Director of photography?
Yeah,
That's the one? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the DP I'm thinking of.
one of my friends was in film school. Was a younger girl, and her mom was like, "Lex, you work for a company that does video." And this is back when we were all working in that video studio. And I was like, "Yeah, but she could work under the DP." And the mom went, "Dude, what?"
Wow,
We were in a really awesome studio.
that was the best. So, obviously, expanding once again.
We'd
on-
all agree that gin and tonic is a classic cocktail, right?
It is a classic cocktail. Unfortunately, it's not on the list of the IBA, the International Bartender Association. They have a list called the Unforgettables, which, if you haven't seen it, you'd be surprised.
Unforgettable.
That's what you are. I think there's not a single episode that's gone by that Lex and I haven't sung to each other. And that's real special.
Highlight of which is zombie. But
Yeah, Zombie was really great.
I have a theory as to why it's not on the list.
It's not really a cocktail.
Typically, bartenders would not classify the gin and tonic as a cocktail, because if it's just a mixer and a spirit, it's not a cocktail. It's a well drink. It's a drink. So it's like, what is drink? I want juice, or what is juice? I want drink. Ever heard that stand-up routine?
No.
No,
No, never heard. No.
Hey,
I'm gonna tell you. It's like a comedian.
Oof.
Yeah. Would always say, the Sunny D commercial when you were a kid?
Purple stuff.
Yeah. And he'd say, oh, all those kids come in the Sunny D. Like, what is this? I got, I got, water. I got this purple stuff, and I got Sunny D. And there's that one black kid who's like, I want the purple stuff.
Yeah,
It's
that
like,
was, wasn't this Dave Chappelle?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
What is juice? I want drink. Water, sugar, purple.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I've always looked at the gin and tonic as like, although I love it, I drink it a lot. It's the drink I order when I'm deciding on what drink to get.
Oh, wow.
It's like, at the
It's
bar.
like the waiting room of cocktails.
Because I was with you just a few days ago, and I was like, hey, he's like, with the cocktail thing. I was like, just give me gin and tonic.
That's like a martini for me.
Yeah. So
Well-
that's what I always
Well,
order.
hopefully our second version will kind of reinvigorate your excitement for the cocktail. Although,
Dude, I do a lot of special stuff to gin and tonics.
Yeah.
I know.
Well,
So, like, remember the one
see?
you made here one time? I'm not going to talk about it, but it's,
we can make one of those also.
oh my
So
God.
what are the IBA?
So there's a lot on here, which it's I don't know exactly how long the list is. Let's say that it's about 40 or so cocktails. And you'd be surprised because so many of them I've never fucking heard of, or are not things that I would consider to be super classic.
Can you name like 2 or 3 I've heard of?
Actually, you know what? Hold on, I can put it on the screen so that we can.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
How is a screwdriver on this list and not a gin and tonic?
Yeah.
Wait, what's a screwdriver? Just orange juice and vodka, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I
Bless
got
you.
real messed up on screwdrivers one time at a concert.
And it just says Bacardi. Oh, they mean the Bacardi cocktail.
Yeah. Some of these are pretty cool, actually.
Between the sheets. I've never had between the sheets.
Oh no? I thought you're married.
Oh,
Yeah, good times all around. You're gonna put some canned laughter in there, Max. That'll be good. Huh?
yeah.
I could stack it. There's a lot of us.
There's a lot on here that are like real classics. You got the daiquiri, dry martini,
Gin Fizz is great. That's a good one.
Manhattan, obviously my absolute favorite, Negroni, old fashioned, Planter's Punch.
Ooh,
But then there's like the Ramos Gin Fizz. I don't know what that is. They have 2 different gin fizzes on here.
they got the Mary Pickford, which is quite good at Blacktail.
Oh yeah,
You've had that. I know you've had it.
I've had it. I've probably had every drink.
That's the foamy one that's served in a coupe glass that Vince always gets. Yeah.
One of my favorites, the Sidecar.
I feel so uncultured looking at the list. I feel like I've really not explored cocktails.
Oh, you never had a tuxedo?
No,
What about you? You ever had a white lady?
I drink a lot of beer, so I'm not. I'm Not really.
I almost don't drink beer anymore.
No?
Yeah, I almost only drink cocktails now.
Since you've made this podcast.
Yes. Because beer was so easy. You could just buy like a 12-pack, 6-pack, have it in your fridge, crack a beer every night, whatever.
It's like, where's the sport in that? I got to start hunting humans.
Right. Are you okay, Taylor?
We were talking about before.
Oh, yeah. Johnny, what are you here to plug?
I'm plugging Jeffrey Epstein. That's what I'm to plug.
Oh, you're the one behind it.
Yeah. That's me.
So, but you say he did commit suicide. That's what you've been saying.
Yeah, I was there. In the cell. You know, so
He was screaming, I'm killing myself. I'm killing myself. Everyone let me kill myself, right?
no, we were talking about that, and then we were talking around the whole like pedophile sort of situation that's going on there. So yeah, it's interesting times.
Yeah, I think that my takeaway from the Unforgettables is how forgettable most of those drinks are.
I think they need I just think they need like a good 2000s reboot. Like
So they do have new versions.
They just need like a Michael Bay reboot of the Unforgettables.
Well, my question is, what gives them the authority to make that list?
They're the International Beverage Association
Or the
Bartenders
bartenders.
Association.
Right.
Bunch of dirty mooks.
Yeah, they have contemporary cocktails. They have the mojito on here, the Bellini.
I'm not saying there's not good drinks on there. There are.
No, this is the newer one, the Cosmopolitan. The Cuba
okay.
Libre is here.
Oh, that sounds like our podcast.
Yeah, there's a lot of good ones.
Is it called The Recipe at the top?
Have we ever done a Cosmo episode?
No.
No,
We'll do that when Leah comes on.
Oh God, that'll be a great one.
When Leah comes on, we'll do the Cosmo.
Hey, yeah, that'll be.
You're gonna do like Sex in the City or something? Where you're
Yeah,
gonna
we'll do
like,
Sex in the City.
She'll
movies.
explain the plot of Sex and the City to us, and we'll just all gasp.
Did she watch Sex in the City?
She's watched the movies. That's
Okay.
Maybe she'll do
perfect.
like Real Housewives of like New York or something.
Here's another thing that I don't get is the new era drinks. They have the Dark and Stormy, which is of equal complexity to the Gin and Tonic.
No, Dark and Stormy has the Gin and Tonic doesn't need lime. Dark and Stormy does need lime, so it's spirit, citrus, and then mixer.
I suppose by the definition of calling it a gin and tonic, you don't assume that you don't necessarily need lime.
No,
but
it's just a garnish. It's not part of the drink. You know,
okay.
unlike a Cuba Libre where it's not a Cuba Libre unless it has lime. If it doesn't have lime,
But
then it's just a rum and coke.
this says Dark and Stormy is a highball cocktail. Oh God damn! Okay.
Oh my god!
We're never leaving. We're never fucking leaving.
You're doing so good.
Oh man, he sounded so disappointed.
Look, all my thing is if the screwdriver can be on that fucking list, and so can the Gin and Tonic.
Tim Taylor, the Tool Man.
What?
Nothing.
What's Tim Taylor the Tool? What is that?
That's American. You wouldn't get it.
No, I wouldn't get
It's
it.
from
Our
House
childhoods.
Improvements.
Home Improvement.
It's a show from when we were kids.
So then I guess guess what, guys? For all we know, 5-6 years, the Recipe Podcast fucking website will be the new Unforgettables.
Oh, of all of our drinks, yeah,
All the drinks that we make, all of our re-releases, our reboots, that could be it.
yeah.
You know, for all you know, what was the drink we made? Not the Queens. That was awful.
The worst.
No, the what's the reboot that we made of the the Tomorrow?
What's that?
That was great. Yeah,
That's gonna be on there. That's
Yeah.
gonna be right there next to. It's gonna replace the Tuxedo.
Yeah, we had the Aperol Spritz thing.
I love the Aperol Spritz.
So we did a reboot, and then we tried something different. I got a different kind of Amaro, like aperitif thing.
All right, okay.
And we made this one, and it ended up being really good. Like we were all stunned.
We
by
changed one
what
ingredient. We changed like the portions.
Yeah.
And we called it the.
We did substitution. So we used it. We did prosecco instead of cava, or cava instead of prosecco, and use this Amaro instead of the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of the Aperol in it. We
Instead
called
of
it
the
the
Aperol.
Tomorrow.
That sounds good.
It was delicious.
It was really good.
Didn't you put whiskey in it?
Yes, he did. He
I
put
did.
whiskey
I put
in
bourbon in it. Yeah.
It was good.
it. Yeah. Cool. So I think that means that since we're done with this list, we're also done with our drinks, right?
Yeah.
Round 2.
Round 2. Okay,
Right.
so we're back. We just made ourselves so as this reboot for the Gin and Tonic. I want to do something different. I had us do kind of like a make your own
Upscale G&T.
upscale G&T.
It's like a taco bar.
Yeah, exactly, but with fancy fruits and gins. So we had 3 different gins. We had the Beefeater, obviously, then the Hendrix, kind of a new classic. and
The gunpowder.
which is good, a little peppery.
Like floral, peppery.
Yeah, real
nice. Nice.
Got
We
a lot of
had-
spice there.
We added 2 new tonics. We had the Mediterranean and the lemon.
Both Fever Tree.
Both Fever Tree. Love Fever Tree. My favorite. And then a ton of different fruits.
Some would say too many fruits.
Maybe more than necessary, but I went a little crazy.
What's the fruit that looks like a hand?
It's called the Buddha hand citron.
Oh, hand,
And-
literally. Okay.
Yeah, and it's really kind of creepy, eldritchy looking sort of thing.
Yeah, Lex has got the equivalent. What's the name of that woman who has the hat with loads of fruit?
Oh, the Cuban girl.
Yeah, you've got the equivalent cocktail of that sort of situation. If I saw you in a bar, I'd be like, oh, look at
Yeah,
that.
check
guy.
the Instagram because we're going to have all photos of all our
Yeah.
different, and we'll tag them so you know which ones are which.
Yeah, well, so we had some oranges, limes, grapefruit, but then also I got Meyer lemon, which
It's
Lex
great.
put an entire Meyer lemon inside.
I
of
did
his.
not. I only cut one Meyer lemon.
Yeah,
But no, you had some weird fruit.
yeah, we had a persimmon, which is my favorite now because it's weird as hell.
Oh, it's disgusting.
It actually makes your mouth taste dry if you eat it. And then 2 different apples. I think one's Fiji, and then the other's Envy, which is one of my favorite apples.
I feel like you're sleeping on the Earl Grey.
Oh my God! Sorry. Yeah, of
you
course.
know, that's fine. That's
No,
fine.
no, and huge contribution when Johnny came over. We made
Earl Grey gin.
Earl Grey gin by infusing Earl Grey tea bag into a couple ounces of gin, and that's what I've got,
Well,
and it's fucking
unfortunately,
amazing.
none of us got to drink it because we threw all the tea in the river, in the harbor.
There you go. That's it.
Fucking asshole.
The studio audience loves it.
Are you genuinely laughing or are you being sarcastic?
I think we're being
Both at the same time.
Can it be both? Okay, guys, why don't we cheers? Obviously, we've already taken a sip of ours, but
Cheers, guys. Cheers.
Does everyone want to go around and say what they did in theirs?
I think we've covered it. I mean, we've all got basically the same thing going down, right?
No, I mean, what do you got?
I have Earl Grey gin, tonic, half of the blue tonic, half of the green tonic. I don't know what they were.
Mediterranean and lemon.
There you go.
Yeah.
And then I have a slice of orange and 2 apples.
Oh, I've got the Buddha hand citron, like a bunch of like fingers of that.
2 fingers of Buddha hand.
Yeah, I got the Beefeater Earl Grey gin and persimmon. Oh, and I use the Mediterranean tonic.
Yeah, I've got a bit of the Earl Grey was really strong, so I had to really throw some other stuff in there to try and bring it back a little bit. So I've got Earl Grey in there. I've also got a little bit of the gunpowder, orange, lime, and then like one bit of that weird Buddha hand thing.
Yeah,
Oh,
the Buddha hand,
yeah. That's the real term. That's the
Yeah.
real term for okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I just used regular beef. I know. I used your what's the botanical one you brought? The
Gunpowder.
the gunpowder. I used the gunpowder. I put every citrus, so all the lemon, lime, orange that I could fit in the bowl, and then I topped it with both tonics and some bitters. Yeah, I think it's pretty well balanced. I didn't even go anywhere near the tea.
You know, it's really nice with the bitters. Bitters really out.
Bitters and citrus are great.
Take that.
It's like the
another-
daiquiri, you know.
Wanna try yours?
Yeah. Mine's like a subtle flavor going on there.
It tastes good.
Yeah, I mean, we're all getting close to the same.
I like it. I like that yours because yours is a little more mild than mine because I did just the.
I think mine's like yours, Taylor. Yeah, similar.
Great.
I just I'm not a recipe person. I just threw shit in there.
You're on
Did
the
you
wrong
use the gunpowder
podcast.
gin.
I just used the Earl Grey gin.
Oh, just the Earl Grey gin. It's got a little pepperiness to it. Maybe the apple.
It's
or
probably because of
something.
the pepper.
Oh, you put pepper.
He put hot sauce
It's
in
the
it.
mace that I put in there. Yeah.
So what are we talking about today?
We're talking about timeless classic films.
Movies that warm your heart.
Yeah. So what's a timeless classic? I mean, not like name one, but like what defines that?
I don't know why I always kind of jump to like American classic films, but just like, you're right, timeless classics like worldwide.
Right. But what makes them timeless?
It's a movie that just lasts. A movie that is, it's not this, it's relevant to what's happening today in society, but it's a movie that you can watch. Like if, let's say like you've never seen such and such and you show it to a friend and they're engrossed into this film, the story is timeless. It just makes sense. There's no flaw. It just brings you in and it absorbs you,
Right.
Like there's some movies that just fall with time because time destroys them.
Mm-hmm.
Like where like it just doesn't make sense anymore. But Timeless Classics is a film set in a period or the situation where it just makes sense and it's kind of indisputable. They're just built to last, and it's something you can watch today, even though it was made in 1970. That it feels right.
I will say this: earlier today, I googled classic films. Google comes up with all the films that you think of, Casablanca, all that sort of stuff. The Joker was in that list. I'm just saying.
Is this a Wikipedia list where you can like?
No,
change it?
it's Google search. Where it comes up with like the thumbnails. The Joker was in there. It was in like the top 10.
Google's a real joker there.
Oh.
I've not seen the film. I
haven't seen it either.
I don't
Lex
know.
has some strong
But the
opinions
thing is,
about
though,
it.
is like I think for me, for a classic film, it has to be out for a while before it can be considered a classic.
That's actually a really good point.
What is an instant classic? A lot of movies get called in like a lot of Oscar nominated
Yeah, but
movies.
that doesn't-
celebrities like or critics they put their thumbs up their own butts and like an instant classic.
What's the movie where Ryan danced with Emma Stone in the movie?
La La
Land. It's
That movie,
La La Land.
That movie sucked.
but it's considered an instant classic.
Okay,
but
but the thing is that I think that you're right, that there is a lot of people who want to capture lightning in the bottle. They see it. This is an opportunity. Like, this is an instant classic. I'm here watching this thing happen in real time, and then
But
they're
like
wrong.
The Lion King was like an instant classic. Like people,
But that was a classic. I think that's just luck. Not
saying
there's anything.
You don't think there's an art to making a film that will eventually be revered?
No, in the same way that I don't think anyone knows what movies will be cult classics. You know, like you don't make a movie and think, oh, this is going to resonate with a certain group of people that I hadn't predicted. You know?
Someone's
A
got to
group
think so.
20 years later.
Some people, of course, a lot of people do, but I'm sure that it's not. You can't. There's no science.
There's
to
no
that.
predicting it.
Right. Like when an artist writes a song, I'm sure all of the artists think maybe this will become a hit, but they're not all right.
That's their goal, is to be a hit, but they don't think about the like cultural impact of the
Kanye
film.
thinks every song he makes is going to be a hit.
Well, that's,
yeah,
that's
and then
Kanye.
who gives a shit?
Yeah, but like they don't think that it's going to be like a cultural thing that people wrap around for years.
Yeah. I wonder about certain songs like Journey when they made Don't Stop Believin'. Did they make that song and think,
Oh,
the
white
next-
people are going to love this
the
at
next
black parties?
30 fucking years that people are going to like fucking lose their minds
No.
at bars about this?
Is Don't Stop Believing, is that in the same realm as like, I don't know, Strawberry Fields Forever? I mean, I don't think that's a classic in the same region.
Oh, well, now we're going into music.
You just
but
got
yeah.
real British.
I know, but I'm
He just swapped Don't Stop Believing for the Beatles.
well, that's pretty clear cut, right?
I'm just saying, like, Don't Stop Believing still bumps. Like, if you put Don't Stop Believing, people stop and come out to the floor to come and be part of Don't Stop Believing.
Yeah, I don't know how many people are bumping for Eleanor Rigby, but I will say Eleanor Rigby is a better song.
It's a better song, but I'm saying, like, if you put Don't Stop Believing, what's the one? Sweet Caroline, like, that just gets white people going.
Yeah,
That's like a great karaoke song. Look at Don't Stop. Everybody sings that at karaoke.
It's true.
yeah.
Good song to pick.
I like how we pivoted immediately to music, like as if like that's a much easier genre for us to quantify.
Well, I think you guys had some movies in your head.
You
Yeah.
do. Yeah. They're sitting there. That's why I didn't say anything when I was talking about examples of timeless classics.
Right. So our criteria, I guess, really is just that it has something that kind of speaks to multiple generations. I mean, that's what makes it timeless, and the classic is just that it doesn't suck.
Wait, are we going to have a movie fight?
Yeah.
I don't think it used to be a fight, right? Why are you so like competitive?
Because I'm American.
we
It's a movie quarrel.
can discuss,
Yeah.
Okay, a movie debate, a master debate.
collaborate,
I'm a master
Okay.
debater.
I know you are, Taylor.
Real good at it.
The best.
So, Johnny, why don't you start us off with what would you say is one of your favorites?
So we were talking about films that didn't do well when they came out, or you said people think it's an instant classic and they know straight away. Mine did not do well at the box office, but then was big on VHS, and now it's widely considered to be the best film ever.
Widely considered.
It's up there. It's like in the
In IMDb, it's often above Godfather.
Oh, is this the amazing film Wayne's World, starring Mike Myers and Dana Carvey?
It's actually Wayne's World 2.
You're right. It is. But in the middle of there might be the Shawshank Redemption.
yeah.
So I feel like it's something that I watched a lot growing up, and then I've watched it again and again. I think maybe I've watched it 15 times. by now.
I've seen Shawshank a lot.
It's one of those movies when it's on TV, you stop and you're like, fuck, this is what I'm doing now.
Don't talk about that movie. I have one movie that if it's on TV, I stop and watch.
Well, that's National Treasure?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, right. So yeah, Shawshank is that for me. Like if it's on TV, you sort of have to stop, just have a nice cup of tea or something, chill out, watch it, get a blanket, just chill into it.
Yeah.
But it's a good story.
Even if it's on TBS and then like it's every 45 seconds
I'm
there's
still
another
gonna do
like minute long commercial break, I'll be like, eh.
But that's what I'm talking
I'll power
about.
through.
When I think of a timeless classic, I think of a movie that you're sitting up with a cup of tea with a blanket watching this movie. It's a good story that you just enjoy.
Unless you're broke and you don't have any tea or blankets.
You can have blankets.
What are you talking about?
Where is this coming from?
Not everyone has blankets, guys.
What do you mean not everyone
no,
has
growing
blankets?
up- growing
You're
up-
watching Shawshank Redemption and you don't own a blanket?
Blanketless.
Where are you? That you have
Completely.
this life.
Growing up, Lex had to use packing blankets.
I slept in a suitcase.
Yeah.
You can buy packs
The
of
zipper
50.
was my blanket.
He had a lot of feral cats that he just laid on top of himself.
We didn't
To
have
keep
much.
himself warm.
But we had each other.
We had Shawshank. We had Shawshank.
We had Shawshank.
But
So you had a TV.
but it's widely considered to be have like a Christian ethos that goes throughout it. That's what it's widely. It's like redemption, rebirth.
Yeah,
he
but
literally does.
there's a lot of
through
films.
hell.
There are a lot of films that people try to tack on some kind of religious.
It's not tacked on though. It's like I think it's threaded through. Like
You think so?
yeah, well, like the sort of the superficial theme is more around friendship and hope, and about like stoicism and all that sort of thing. Like when you watch it like in the first instance, but then when you think about it more, it's more around Andy Dufresne's. He is Jesus in this. He takes on the sins of all the people that are in the prison with him, and then he dies, which is like it's meant to be. Everyone assumes he's hung himself, and the cell is empty, which is like the empty cave.
Who would assume he hung himself? He didn't leave a rope.
No, that's the.
He did. He got a piece of rope from the workshop or the loading dock to tie the bag to his ankle that had the suit that he was going to wear and everything that he'd get out there with. So all the other guys were like, "Oh, I saw him. He got the piece of rope," and they were like, "Oh my god, he's going to hang himself." And he didn't come out of his cell in the next day, and everyone assumed he was. They'd walk in there and see him hanging, but no, he was empty. He was gone.
Rita Hayworth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fuzzy britches.
Fucking. Just absolutely classic.
That's my
movie.
favorite
Yeah.
scene when he goes, "This is my favorite part," when she does this and she leans back.
Yeah.
On the
yeah,
black
yeah.
and white. Oh my god, that's amazing because it makes me remember. That must have been how Kyle Reese felt when he saw Sarah
That's what
Connor.
I was thinking. This one picture. Oh hell yeah!
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That does it for me.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you.
But I think that to go on your point, I think that like there is so much there that multiple viewings are, I don't know if required, but they really pay off. Like it's worth it.
I can't wait to movie
Well,
fight this.
Every time I've seen Shawshank, the payoff is the same. It feels
Yeah, it
just
feels
as
so
good.
good.
It feels so satisfying.
You could watch just clips of Shawshank and be very satisfied. If
Yeah.
you watch the rooftop scene and just be like, that's a parable in itself.
That's where I learned what the word magnanimous means, because he says it's like the bastard even seem magnanimous by like
Yeah.
giving everyone beers and tarring the roof and stuff. Like
But yeah,
it was really cool.
it's so good. You guys heard of Secret Cinema? It's like the experiential theater where they recreate. So I did Shawshank, and it was so good.
What did you do?
So you turn up and they sentence you and then say, okay, like you're sentenced to this many years. And then they have a vintage bus that comes and picks you up, and there's actors everywhere, all playing out the characters that are in Shawshank.
Right.
And you are fresh fish, and you go in there and you're like people like.
Do they dress you up like period and
Oh
everything?
yeah, they strip you down.
They rape you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
There's
like,
a lot of rape.
I always throw in what is it, that powder that he tries to throw
Oh,
in
they
your eyes?
delousing
delouse
powder.
it.
Delousing, yeah.
Delousing powder, or I'm threatening to
Do they
like,
do this to Americans or just British?
just everyone who comes around, like they just do it, like, and then you have to like forcibly like fight off loads of sexual predators and stuff. Yeah, it's
What?
cool. No, but that's what happens in the movie.
No, I know that it is. I'm just-
I'm just
Wait, no. But I'm having a hard time like knowing where to draw the line
this
here
like
as
one
to
of those-
what is true and what is
Secret
not
Cinema
true.
did a whole back to
I was just
future.
like, when you got to the point where you're like, oh, they deloused you. That's fucking wild.
They didn't delouse.
They didn't delouse you.
But-
Okay.
Okay. So what happened is
What do they actually do?
they ask you to wear long johns before you go.
Okay.
And then they strip you down and walk you through the prison, which was an old converted Catholic school. And then they have actors that are playing inmates and also guards that are shouting at you. And then they'll turn all the lights off, and you just sort of wander around this place, and people will try and bully you or try and, hey, do you want to come in here and do this little secret shady thing? But it's
So you
like
paid people to bully you?
basically, yeah.
See, so we did
We got that for free in Long Island.
a couple weeks ago. We did Sleep No More, and we have not shut the fuck up about
Similar
it.
to that.
So good as yeah, I love that.
The
I'd
thing
love
is,
to do
my
more
problem
of
is
that
that
stuff.
like Sleep No More was great because people don't lay hands on you or anything.
Yeah.
But like in a situation like that where I'm getting bullied, I might bully you back. That's the problem.
Oh, tough
I'm,
guy over
I'm
here.
bigger than you.
All right, what's your movie? Fight Club?
No.
Okay, yeah. I think we're ready to go. We're gonna go to the next one.
Shawshank is good. John. I love Shawshank.
I fucking love Shawshank.
This is like killing our darlings. Like everyone, we're all gonna like each other's movies for the most part.
That's the whole point of these movies. Everybody
supposed to-
likes them.
It's supposed to be timeless classics.
yeah. So what's yours, Max?
So mine's an easy one. Everybody loves Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
Except my girlfriend. And
He's trying.
She hates movies that make her cry, except Coco.
Except Coco.
Yeah, she loves Coco, but she cries at everything. And she was saying that Forrest Gump was the best, worst movie she's ever seen. And anytime I do anything in Forrest Gump's voice, she gets very mad at me.
I mean, Forrest Gump. It was a groundbreaking movie for storytelling, but also groundbreaking movie for what it did in cinema. Like the visual effects were amazing. It set new rules, new standards for what they could do.
But that I think kind of goes against your premise, though. It shouldn't be about what it did that was revolutionary at the time. What makes it timeless?
That's what I said. It was at first it was storytelling.
Storytelling.
That's
So
what I said.
storytelling is
Yeah,
what
yeah.
it is. Yeah.
I'm going to defend Max here. I think what makes Forrest Gump, because I love that fucking movie. I think what makes it timeless is the fact that you don't have to live through these times or even have a lot of historical context.
Yeah.
And you still go on a roller coaster.
Yeah, I don't know if you're really defending him. All I'm saying is that
I'm
Shut up,
I'm
Taylor.
fighting with
Shut
Max.
up, Taylor.
he said new technology is what made it
Well,
timeless.
but
It's
you-
like it doesn't really
yeah,
make
you-
sense.
Max,
listen to my second point only.
Taylor.
Yeah, sad.
No, that's what I said. Like at first, it was a groundbreaking story. It was a story that you could take home and you loved. What Lex is just talking about. And number two, it set new standards in cinema.
I saw it when I was 11 years old, and I was still like, this is a fucking epic. I didn't know anything about the Vietnam War, Watergate, JFK being assassinated, fucking anything. I didn't know anything about Vietnam veterans. I knew nothing about the prostitution in Times Square. I knew nothing about any of that stuff. And I still got the fact that this was like a huge movie with huge plot that meandered and took its time, and it built a world that was enough like mine that I cared, but whimsical enough that I felt like I was escaping reality.
Yeah, whimsy, I think, is a really good word for it because it did make like everyday events seem magical in a way.
It's so larger
But
than
I
life.
also like the fact that they kind of slightly wrote in how Gump influenced those events.
Yes. Yeah.
So like, you know how like when he played Alabama football and he was the best running back they've ever had? During those years for Alabama, they were completely undefeated in real life.
Did they have a player named Forrest Gump?
No, but like they were implying in this movie that Forrest Gump was the guy who made Alabama undefeated.
I must have drank like 50 Dr. Peppers.
Yeah.
I gotta pee.
But I felt quite sad at the end of that film. Is it Becky? That is
It is
Jenny.
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 That's the one.
Jenny.
Jenny. Like I hated her by the end of that.
That's what my girlfriend says. This is what
Oh my
No,
god.
when you grow up and watch Forrest Gump and have more of a mature attitude to the film, you can understand who she is and what she did to him. It really sucks.
It
I
does.
know
suck,
what
yeah.
love is.
Like, I just felt awful at the end of it. I was just like, he's the nicest guy, and he's come off in the worst situation.
You know,
Nice
but
guys finish last, Johnny.
I don't think you're supposed to love her at the end. I think that
not.
you're supposed to see her as this kind of like tragic figure in the sense that she had all of this hardship in her life and she didn't know how to deal with people who loved her. And any person who did that, she pushed away, including Forrest, who unconditionally loved her.
I'll take it even further. Forrest is a constant. Forrest is almost oblivious or ignorant to like the way the world changes around him. He kind of like unconsciously adapts because his worldview makes him succeed kind of in any situation. And I think that's a moral of the story is that his kind of benevolence and his kind of openness and his naivete she is just as much as a force of nature in the film.
But she's
in the literal
ephemeral.
sense. No, I'm saying she's just as much a force of nature in the film as the historical things that happened, like the Vietnam War or the Watergate scandal or the assassination of JFK. She is just as like colossal and uncontrollable and untamable as those things, because she's a regular person and he's him.
And I think that they create a good counterpoint to each other. You're right, that it is like he is the constant and she is the variable.
Yeah.
She is the person who is
He's Batman, she's the Joker.
Right. In a way, yeah. And then they make Haley Joel Osment as a kid.
Todd Phillips is the Joker, is the next one we're trying to talk about.
Yeah.
No. But no, it's a good movie.
Yeah.
Taylor.
Oh,
wait, I think I know what it is.
what is it?
Donut.
Dun-it, dun-it, dun-it. It's Jaws. Jaws. No, it's one of my family's favorite movies, but also it's like just my favorite quotable movie, and I could watch it.
Give us a quote. Give us a quote we never heard.
And a quote you never heard?
Well, quote that people don't quote very often.
What? Does anyone know what scene that's from?
No.
It's like my family's favorite line to quote.
What?
When they caught the other shark that's not Jaws, and they pick him. They're like, "What kind of shark do you think it is?" And he goes, "It's a tiger shark." And the guy turns around and goes, "Oh, what?"
Yeah, why don't you chum this shit?
Why don't you come down and chum some of this shit? Yeah, it's so good. Like every single scene in that movie is incredibly quotable. The characters are so like you love them, but they are all like weird and kind of messed up, and they have these problems. The main character, I mean, if you would call him the main character, you know, Chief Brody is a guy who lives on an island that's basically Martha's Vineyard, and he's afraid of the water. You know, he famously says that it's only an island if you look at it from the water, which makes no sense. It's great. You know, and you have Quint, who's this alcoholic, fucking crazy ass person. And then you have, what's his name?
Richard Dreyfuss?
Richard Dreyfuss' character, whose name escapes me right now.
Right. Guess you're not a fan.
No, I am. Hooper. You know, Hooper is this like rich boy kind of like, you know, guy who knows everything, but is maybe a little too smart for his own good. And the three of them are just out there doing like the most primal fucking human thing, which is fighting this great beast.
Hunting the white whale.
Hunting the white whale, hunting the bear, you know, really kind of doing it.
They have a scene in that movie similar to the trailers for the movie The Lighthouse. They have a scene in that movie that is very indicative and much like a metaphor for this podcast, which is the "Show me the way to go home" scene.
Yeah.
I love that's probably the best.
Show me the way to go home.
The calm before the storm.
Yeah.
That's a great film.
Oh man, I'm glad you guys all like it.
I always remember is it when he first realizes the shark's in the water and it's like the compressed zoom? The shot where it's
the rack zoom?
Oh, yeah.
Which is a shot that Steven Spielberg invented.
He invented. And was that the first time it was used, or was it used before then?
I don't know, but I know that
I
he
heard
was the one who
rumors that
invented
it was used in like grindhouse filmmaking, but not with that level of expertise and cleanliness to the rack zoom. But I mean, what other indie directors weren't piggybacking off of what was happening on the grunge scene? You know,
It's an incredible scene because that's the moment he realizes that the shark is in the water, and like it perfectly encapsulates in one shot.
Yeah.
That
Talk
feeling.
about a movie changing like perception and culture.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
it
the
created the blockbuster.
well, the summer blockbuster.
Summer blockbuster.
Created Shark Week.
Right. That's one thing that the author of the book like says is like the weighs on his conscience every day is the fact that it led to this very vehemently anti-shark kind of feeling. And that's something that I love that movie, but I love sharks, and I don't think that they're something that we need to fear the same way that we do.
No.
Like we treat them like monsters. They're not monsters. They're animals.
They're superheroes, half shark, half man, fighting evil. That's the plan. Street sharks.
Did you have Street Shark toys?
Absolutely, I did.
Yeah, I did too.
I was obsessed with Street Sharks. That was like our Ninja Turtles. They were not as good, but they were awesome
You
design.
didn't have blankets, but you had the street sharks.
Yeah.
So Lex, what do you got?
I'm going to go with Jurassic Park.
Great answer.
I want to go earlier because I talk about a lot of movies I think are classics. And I could go like hoity-toity and be like Casablanca, L.A. Confidential, whatever. But Jurassic Park is timeless in the sense that the year that it was made holds no bearing on the weight of it. Like Jaws created the summer blockbuster, and the people credit Jurassic Park as being the first film that like really captured how to use CGI effectively. But I would say that Jurassic Park is timeless in the sense that if you showed a kid Jurassic World or Jurassic Park, it doesn't matter. Jurassic Park came out 20 years ago. They're going to be hiding behind a pillow for certain scenes. Mm-hmm. They're going to be crying. They're going to be screaming. They're going to be laughing. They're going to be cheering. The experience isn't diluted by time. I think it's almost permanent.
Yeah. And I think that something that while you were saying that, it made me realize what in that movie really, other than maybe the computer monitors, really kind of pegs when it was shot.
Oh, the cutoff shorts.
Cutoff shorts, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like other than the fashion, and then maybe like the fact that the Jeeps they were using were a little.
You could say the phones.
What phones though?
Mr. Hammond, the phones are on.
Yeah,
Phones
but they were
working.
using like satellite phones, which still look ridiculous today.
Must go faster.
Yeah,
Jonny, you're quiet. What are you thinking about all these films?
No, I'm just considering Jurassic Park. Like, it was more the vignettes. It was more the small moments, like the water glass. The ripples.
Yeah.
It was just like it wasn't really about the dinosaurs for me. It was more around how the film was constructed, how the meaning came about.
Well, you got to think there's only 8 minutes of dinosaur footage in the whole film.
Is that true?
Really?
8 minutes. Yeah.
Holy shit! Wow,
8 minutes.
that's the best fact about Jurassic Park I've ever heard.
But that's them on screen. Now,
That's
Okay.
what we.
if
That's
it's cut to like 2 of the doctors looking at a dinosaur, that doesn't count.
All right, okay.
That's kind of like when Ian Malcolm was like
in the sorry Lex, but in the Jeep, they're like looking, they lift their glasses. That doesn't count towards dinosaur.
okay, because it's not on screen. Like it's not
Only on screen.
The audience can't see it.
that makes me think of the line where Ian Malcolm goes, "You in Jeff Goldblum fashion, you do plan to have dinosaurs, in your dinosaur tower, right? Right? There will be actual dinosaurs. Hello."
No, but at the beginning when they're flying over and they talk, and they say like they're all females on the
Yeah,
island.
yeah.
And he has the seatbelt, and it's like 2 female connectors.
Yeah.
Right.
He goes, life finds a way, and he like ties it together. The 2 females.
I never connected those two,
Yeah,
but the thing is,
yeah,
but that
yeah.
was much later. The female conversation's later.
But
Yeah.
but at the beginning when they're flying over,
See, I always saw that
So
as a
you-
metaphor for the fact that Dr. Grant was always technologically illiterate, which
Right.
comes into play a lot with his characters, that he doesn't like kids and he doesn't like technology, but yet he's the one who's burdened to protect the children and to turn this massive computerized monstrosity of a safe house back to them, like bring it back to them. Like he turns the phones on. He's the one who says, Mr. Hammond, the phones are working. He's
Yeah.
Every character gets confronted with the thing that's the opposite of them. Even Hammond.
Well, I don't know about Ian Malcolm though.
Ian Malcolm definitely does, because Ian
What's
Malcolm,
the opposite of
Ian
him?
Malcolm, who was full of ego and he was conceited, and he gets a near-death experience, and
And he
stops-
He is humbled by the fact
He's
that
humbled, yeah.
he is broken
And
immediately. Yeah.
if you remember,
This is fucking deep cut.
and the real,
analysis-
the craziest thing, I'm going to
analyzation
jump into this about Ian Malcolm, is that Ian Malcolm talks about he has tons of kids and he's always looking for a future Miss Malcolm. So you think he's a sleazeball. But when the kids are trapped in the car, before Grant goes to save them, Malcolm's the one who runs out with the road flare. He's the one who runs out with the road flare, and Grant only runs out to stop him because he knows the dinosaur's vision is based on movement.
That's not true. This is no. I think you're confused about the timing on that because Grant is
goes out
out there
first.
doing the thing,
Oh.
and then
You're
Ian's
right, you're
in
right,
the thing,
you're right.
and you see him
You're
light it
right.
up.
Yes, you're right. He's the one who oversteps. He goes a little too erratic.
Right.
And he
wants to help out.
He jeopardizes Grant's plan. And
He doesn't know how to treat the T-Rex.
but what I would say is Grant came at it from a place of expertise, and Malcolm came out of a place of willingness, and he was trying to be heroic and put the children above him, where Grant was just trying to do what he thought he had to do. How to explain? Let me go back.
I think 2 guys both going up against T-Rex is very heroic.
Well,
No matter
yeah,
what the
exactly.
reason
I
was.
think they
Absolutely.
both had the best of intentions.
Let me walk it back. What I'm trying to
But
say is
before you jump into it, I do want to say I was wrong about the 8 minutes of footage.
okay.
It was only 6 minutes of CGI dinosaur footage.
Okay.
And total dinosaur footage, including prosthetics, was 14 minutes of screen time.
Still minor.
Still, yeah, exactly.
But I was wrong. So
It's
6
not like,
minutes of CG, 14 minutes total dino time.
had you asked me ahead of time, I would have said 30 minutes plus.
Yeah.
Best shot of that was when he plucked him off the toilet. You know, when he sat and
Yeah.
the toilet falls apart and then T-Rex just...
See,
No.
that
Wait.
guy is a real piece of shit.
Best shot in Jurassic Park. What do you think?
It might be the first dinosaur shot, actually. I think it's like...
First reveal?
The first reveal.
Which one? The dinosaur coming out of the egg?
No, the first
The
big one.
Brachiosaurus.
Yeah, and that's when like the
Long
core
necks.
theme plays and the...
Littlefoots.
Have you guys seen the shitty flute version of that scene? It's so funny. It's like someone like does
I know
like
you're talking about,
huge scores, but they do it on a recorder. It's hysterical.
I have seen that. You're right. I've heard it as well.
Yeah, it's really good.
I would say the best shot of that film. I mean, there's so many great shots, like the dinosaurs flying, and as like the last shot as they're looking, seeing the birds fly in formation as they're looking.
Okay, right,
There's
yeah,
a great scene. You know, even the scenes like when Newman puts the fucking whipped cream or the shaving cream on the pie.
I love that.
That's a great scene.
Yeah.
But I would say the best fucking shot is when the last raptor gets eaten by the Tyrannosaurus Rex and he roars at the camera and the ribbon falls that says when dinosaurs
Ruled the earth.
Yeah.
Yes. So good.
Oh my God.
Chills.
To note on the whipped cream thing, but that's so true to his character. He's a shitty person.
Yeah.
Only a person would do that to somebody else.
Put shaving cream
No, that was his
on
own
there.
pie. He ordered a shit ton of shit because he knew he was going to make the CIA agent pay for it. That's the point. When you see him, his table is full of plates of food. He's a glutton.
He's not a CIA agent though.
Dotson was
Not CIA.
Dotson was the rival.
Yeah,
and he
no,
said,
yeah,
"What do you
no,
think you are, an CIA agent or FBI agent?"
Yeah.
And he goes, "Don't get cheap on me." Yeah, Dotson.
That was Hammond's mistake. That's such a great line. So good.
They are your problems, Dennis. Even with that, this kind of makes my point that Spielberg is such a chameleon because just like in Jaws, it wasn't so much about the spectacle scenes or the spectacle shots. He found a way to like couch and bed the spectacle shots with human emotional scenes. Like the scene when Hammond comes into the trailer and the helicopter's ruining all the fossils. And they're like, who's this jerk? And they come in, he's popping a cork of champagne. And, you know,
We were saving that.
yeah, and he goes, for today, I guarantee it.
Yeah, it's so good.
And he like they're all dirty and dusty and he's clean and white and he's walking them through about how he's going to finance their dig and they're smiling and hugging each other. It's like you're rooting for these guys and you know they're like, if you've seen the trailer, if you know what the movie's about, you know they're going to fight dinosaurs. Maybe you didn't think it was going to be that artistic of a film, but like these characters had heart and they were, their motivations are not so much clear, but they're kind of like just instinctual. They're not archetypes in any way. Like there's not one character besides maybe Hammond who's an archetype, or the warden. Maybe the warden. Let's say he's an archetype. The rest of them were completely wholly original. The warden who the clever girl.
Oh God, yeah.
Clever girl.
Yeah, he is. I mean, they obviously like with the hat and the Australian accent, like
Yeah.
he really is,
And the bitter
on point.
temperament.
Yeah,
So I don't want to make this all about Jurassic Park. Let's bring it back to the forum. So what do we think? We just aired out 4 movies. Are we changed at all?
I honestly think that 3 of these movies were '90s movies, so that says something right there, right?
But is
Shawshank,
that-
is
does that-
Shawshank,
yeah,
'90s.
Yeah, but does that just say something about us as people, like our age?
I actually want to say that is probably what is the most influential to us because these are the movies that
Wired into your brain when you're growing up.
right exactly
That
yeah.
doesn't make any sense because my girlfriend's grandmother is 80 years old and she loves film.
Sure.
And Forrest Gump's one of her favorite films.
I'm not
That's
saying
totally
no,
fine
but that's
as well.
not. That's
But
not
I'm just
fine.
saying, like,
I'm not saying that,
I'm
that you
just-
can
I'm just-
only say
No,
that.
what I'm saying is I'm using this as an example because it's like some movies, it doesn't matter how old you are when you see them, they immediately become like a favorite.
Right. But for instance, you've like what I mentioned before, we've excluded all movies that take place prior to 1970. Like that's
1974.
it's something that like we just don't have the same experience for. But also, I think that there is some portion of this that, as much as we call them timeless movies, that they make sense to us because we understand they're modern to us. If we saw things like my Uncle Mike, fucking love him, and he loved showing me like World War II movies that came out when he was a kid. He showed me the Guns of Navarone. He showed me the Longest Day and things like that. And they're all cool movies, but I watch them and I'm just like, yeah, but it's a different time. It's John Wayne, like it's not that I don't like John Wayne, but he doesn't speak to me the same way that other characters do.
Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. These are like some of these things, even though they are timeless, they are somewhat encapsulated in the time that they happened.
Like Superbad.
Yeah.
That'll never be funny to anyone else but the people who...
Oh, yeah. It's not like 10, 20 years from now. It's like, the fuck is this? Yeah, Gen Z kids are going to watch this movie and just be like, well, this is racist.
The other guys will always be funny.
The other guys?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of things like Step Brothers and all that stuff. But I mean, like...
Fucking Step Brothers is so damn good. I love that
Jaws,
movie.
Jaws, I think, came out in 1974. It's still fucking good.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Like, I saw The Magnificent Seven with the original one with Yul Brynner. And it's like, it's so slow. The pacing is slow. It's tough to watch. It's hard to get through. There's a lot of economic stuff you don't get because you're not from that time period. But it's like fucking Jaws. It's so elemental.
Yeah.
But that's a whole nother conversation. Like
the unknown.
What about Jaws makes it hold up? What about certain movies like that makes them hold up through time?
It's about a man fighting nature.
I've got, I two things. One, my number one thing is absolutely, I think it's a narrative thing. It harkens back to the oldest stories that we've told, which is man versus some other more powerful force. Like Beowulf is fucking about that. Like the Epic of Gilgamesh is about that. Yep. But also, I think one of the things that we talked about in a previous episode, I've been talking about a lot, is it's scary. And scary is timeless. Maybe not what scares you is timeless, but the emotion of being scared is timeless. And like that sense of suspense.
Like that mortality feeling. Like
people have been afraid of death forever.
Right. Death is always scary. We're mortals.
Then what about The Wizard of Oz? Because that's always comes up on the list of timeless films.
I would say it's timeless, but no one here is going to advocate for it.
I'll advocate for it. I think it is a timeless film.
But you going to swap Jaws for it?
No.
That's what I'm talking about.
But I don't think that it's a question. I'm not saying our votes here aren't saying that
I could
there's
swap,
one.
I could swap Jurassic Park for Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. Yeah,
when he chews ice, it throws him off so bad.
It pisses me off.
He just cannot.
We
he
all
loses
have
track.
We all have something we do.
No, it's funny.
Yeah.
It's like my girlfriend chews ice too, and she always tells me to make her stop. So like when he does it, it drives me nuts.
Yeah. Cough or something.
Oh,
He coughed a lot.
Yeah.
I play with the little. There's like a little thing that like a little clip, and I like play with it. It's like I would go like, and I'll go and snap it back.
That's a terrible bassy noise you're making there.
It's like this high pitched click.
Yeah.
I was kind of scrolling through the like top 100 films according to IMDb. And I mean, there's a lot of films that like once I see it again, oh wait, that is an amazing film that I just didn't think of.
Is there anyone that stands out?
Like Gladiator.
Yeah,
that would be my second choice. Gladiator was the first film I ever cried at. It was one solitary tear at the end.
Very manly.
I remember. He buries little figurines of his family in the Colosseum at the end. I remember just one tear going, and I went in the back garden. I got a stick and a bin lid. And I pretended I was a gladiator.
And his dad beat him.
My name is Maximus Meridius Decimus. I'm a husband to a murdered wife, father to a murdered son, and I will get my revenge in this life or the next.
Exactly. I remember doing that and fighting my dad with a stick.
Do you know that they were going to make a sequel to that movie?
I heard. Yeah, it didn't get made. Like partly, did it?
The script got written or rewritten, and there was a whole bunch of stuff going on there. So I don't know. I just can't look at Russell Crowe with any real sincerity.
I mean,
at this point in my life,
is like a Star Wars: A New Hope a timeless film?
Absolutely,
absolutely.
Yeah.
1977.
Yeah,
it's like
it's just a western, right? It's
space western. Yeah,
space western.
I will say though, do you know about the one big hiccup in Gladiator that's like one of my favorite scenes now because of it?
What?
It's where the scene where
the chariot flips over and then you can see the bottom of it.
Well, that's just another simple hiccup. But Maximus, he goes, "Are you not entertained?"
Yeah.
And there's one wide swooping shot.
Mm-hmm.
There's a production guy in the crowd in a white t-shirt and blue jeans, just like standing there next to a camera. And it's a swooping shot that's totally in the film, and it's awesome. You just see this one dude just like with a hat on, like.
But if I go and rent it now, they'll have taken that out.
It's there.
Right?
No, it's still there.
They didn't even bother to go back and take it out.
No, they didn't. They're not Steven Spielberg. They're not going to.
It's like when they take
Who
nipples out of
directed
movies.
that?
Who did
Roman Polanski?
No, Roman Polanski. I think it was like Stone. Not Stone.
It's pretty high on the list too.
I mean, there's films like Lord of the Rings, which I know it's polarizing, but it's another one of those like warm blanket cup of tea sort of situations on an autumn day.
Lord of the Rings is the greatest trilogy of films ever created. I would say that taken as a whole, it should be probably in the top 10 greatest films ever made.
I don't know for sure, but I got the feeling that Lex does not like Lord of the Rings.
He does not agree, but he also doesn't like fantasy, so his opinion doesn't matter.
Oh, Ridley Scott made.
Ridley
Gladiator.
Scott. Okay,
It's not that Lex doesn't like Lord of the Rings. He doesn't like medieval.
He doesn't like any
styled-
fantasy stuff.
Yeah, doesn't like Game of Thrones, anything like that.
Yeah,
While Lord of the Rings extended version is just.
it's the greatest thing
so
ever.
fucking
I mean,
awesome.
I did try. I don't like much care for cheese, right? But if you make me like a mozzarella and like pepper platter, I'm gonna try it because you made
Yeah.
it, right? And I always do. I always try.
And I get that. I
watched-
respect that.
I watched Fellowship twice, and both times I couldn't get through it,
Yeah.
and I was just like, I don't fucking like this.
Yeah. Well, it's like our friend Claire. She's always like, oh, like, I don't know, I don't get the Marvel movies, and I'm just like, it's okay. Like, I'm not mad at you for that. Like, she's like trying to like explain it in a way that either is going to change my mind or it's going to excuse her feeling that way. And I'm like, I don't care if you don't like it. You don't have to care.
So now that we've all aired out our four timeless classics, do we want to vote? Do we each want to vote, like a blind vote for someone else's movie? Like we'll all text it to our group chat, like our four of us. We'll all vote for someone else's movie. And let's see if someone else gets the most votes.
No, so we just, I think that it'd be cool if the audience, if they wanted to participate, tell us what you guys thought
Of the four?
But don't we just point right now and just say who we think's got the best?
We can't vote for our own.
Can't vote for our own.
Okay.
Well, I already know it
wait,
wins.
let's say this around. Let's say this around the room. Let's repeat what we picked around the room. Starting with Max, go around.
I did Forrest Gump.
I did Jaws.
Jawshank.
Jurassic Park. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Oh my God, Jurassic Park won by a landslide.
I love Jurassic Park.
I love it too.
3-1. I voted for Jaws, and I would have voted for Jurassic Park.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
my
exactly.
I know you would vote for Jaws. You love Jaws.
Okay, so
yeah.
we get to talk a little bit more about
It's-
Jurassic
yeah,
Park, which is great because I want to talk more
Because
about
Jaws is set in Long Island.
No, it's not.
It's not.
That was Stranger Things, and I got confused for a minute because we drink on the podcast.
Yeah, we do.
It's just when we started talking about it, I was like, I remember the scene in the kitchen, where he's like breathing against the glass on the door.
Oh my God! What about the spoon when she's banging the spoon and she can see the dinosaur?
The reflection.
Oh my God!
There are two scenes in cinema history that have made me so hungry. It's the scene in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids when they discover the giant oatmeal cookie that's massive, and the other one is when they get back in there and there's that giant buffet of food.
Oh yeah!
And they just fucking go nuts, and I'm just like, oh my God.
Is that all the Jello they got
Then
there?
they get the
Yeah,
Jello.
the Jell-O
Well, then
and the
there's a
ice
scene
cream.
where
Ice
her
cream's gonna
hand's
melt.
shaking with the Jello.
Do you ever just like have a ladle in your kitchen, kind of banging it a couple of times?
I do that. Yeah. No, but
Because of Jurassic Park.
I always think of that line when he goes, our chef Alejandro has made you dinner. I made lunch. He's like Chilean sea bass, spared no expense. And I'm like, they have like 5 restaurants in the Jurassic Park part of Universal Studios Orlando. They don't serve fucking Chilean sea bass anywhere.
Well, because it's endangered now.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah. It's also called dogfish, I'm pretty sure.
You're a dogfish. No, but either way, like the
What a
food
better
there,
name.
the food there, and all of it, like even like that scene where they're talking about like the control and evolution, and they have the projector screens of all like the rides that they're gonna build, and like the site maps, the construction work, and it's people talking about an inevitable future that's like doomed, and it's so interesting. Like that movie, there's always more than one thought going on at once.
Yeah.
The movie's never just about one thing.
Another thing that I think is kind of interesting is that it's not the first foray, or maybe I don't know if the book. No, definitely. It's not the first foray that he had in the genre. So it was obviously written by Michael Crichton. Michael Crichton also made Westworld, and Westworld, similar concept of like this theme park where the attractions start to destroy, like
Yeah,
kill
but
people.
I've read Jurassic Park,
yeah
the book.
Well, there's no
And-
Westworld book. It's
I know,
just
but
a movie that he made.
I'll tell you that Jurassic Park, the book, is far less superior than the movie. The movie's so
Yeah,
much better. Not often do I say the movie's better, Jurassic Park, the movie, is infinitely better. And the movie has a lot more to talk about like economics and corporate greed and, you know, civilization and disregard for human life, disregard for evolution, Mother Nature. They have a lot to talk about like overexpansion. There's a lot of themes of like human 7 deadly sins going on in Jurassic Park that's not evident in the book.
I mean, the book, and also like what I remember from the book is like a lot of different things happen to the point where they're not as satisfying. Like, and they also took a lot of stuff from Jurassic Park 2 from the book. Like, it was already in the book.
Yeah, I mean,
and like the whole carpy opening scene from Jurassic Park 2 was in Jurassic Park 1, the book.
yeah, because they were eating the indigenous people of the island.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, the bit I thought didn't fit is where he pretends to be electrocuted to his own kids. Why did that bit come in?
I can tell you. I can tell you why.
Yeah,
I can tell you
good.
why. Because that was to show the arc of him being finally comfortable around children. He was teasing them the way he always teased. Like, what's her name? Sattler.
Yeah.
See, he would tease Sattler. He would tease Malcolm. Like he's a very jovial, interesting guy, and he never resonated with children. So him doing that to them was him like trying to like play around with them and be part.
Okay.
So it's like showing his arc of being someone who hates children to who will almost please them and entertain them.
Yeah, the other prank that he plays on a kid in that movie does not play off well.
Oh, the
It wasn't
Where
a prank.
he tells
He
the
was
kid about
teaching that kid a lesson.
he put that kid in his place, which is very different than like, you know, having a very kind of heartwarming, cute moment.
we could have done a whole episode of Jurassic Park.
I think we should another time.
Another time.
But yeah, so is that it?
That's it. So everybody listening, tell us what your timeless classics are. There's a large list, clearly about a bunch of movies we did not talk about.
Tell us ones we would never have thought of.
It's gonna be like Miyamoto movies.
Yeah.
Not Miyazaki movies.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Johnny, what are your thoughts after being on the podcast?
There's plenty of other films that I could have dove into, but I feel like we got restricted on, like, we could talk here for a long time. It'd be Max's nightmare of an edit.
Right.
But there was things we could talk about, like Train Spotting. I feel like we've gone very American. It's like, I guess it's like you almost said American classics rather than just classics.
Well, to be fair, we did follow your lead with Shawshank. We just tried to pick movies that could hold a toe to it because it is a great film.
Yeah.
And it's a hard film to counter because it's about so many ideas and it's so perfectly executed and so like inimitable.
And you know what I think is interesting also is that all of us picked very watchable films, whereas you said Train Spotting, and yet I love that movie. Not something that, like, if I see it on TV, I'm like,
Never finished it. Never
I
finished
don't know
Train
if I'm
Spotting.
gonna go.
but because it's so visceral, makes it a classic because it's
It is.
Yeah,
It
like-
is. But it is definitely a difficult watch, I'd
It's
say.
definitely not a cup of tea in a
No,
blender.
not.
cup of tea, okay.
Yeah.
You
It
know.
isn't the kind of tea, I mean, you know, and
I mean, even if you can afford a blanket, you can't afford like
Cup of tea and his gin.
and heroin to go
And
with it,
heroin,
you know?
yeah.
And
Not
heroin.
my cup of tea and gin.
Yep.
Well,
But Johnny, thank you for being on the show. We really appreciate it.
thank you, Johnny.
bye, Johnny. Thank you, John.
It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for bringing some booze and drinking some of Taylor's booze. And we'll catch everyone on the next episode. So pour yourself a drink. And cheers to you for listening.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.
Bye.